Thank you so much. And I'd like to echo what others have said. It means so much to be here. And in hearing everyone's words today and getting to speak with folks on the board during the break and at the beginning, it's clear that so much love and dedication goes into this. So, as an author and as a person who's here for the first time, I just really like to say thank you to everyone whose spirit has been a part of Little Patuxent Review in the past, present, and in the future. I want to look for cicadas, says the child who is not mine, and I oblige her. We take the shady trail through the park, and the sun comes dappled through the trees. Her parents will be home within the hour. They're conscientious that way. They will say, "No, no, Carrie, take the rest of the day for yourself, please." And I will say, "Thank you so much," like I have something else to do. But I'll spend the evening in my basement apartment below their house, listening to them laugh and talk and live in big, loud ways above me. She's a reporter. Her wife is a lawyer. Their kids speak multiple languages. Big things. "Where were you the last time the cicadas came?" says the child, which is an incredible thing for a 5-year-old to say when you think about it, because she's realized that the cicadas come every 17 years and that I'm old enough to have seen the last brood. That's a private school education for you. I know exactly where I was. I was standing on the green, manicured quad, looking for cicadas with the boy I liked. He found one, a creamy white tendril, just out of its shell. He ate the whole thing to impress me, and I was, even though we were in college and I was too old to be impressed by something like that. "Good luck on your semester in Casablanca," he said to me, his cheeks flushed. 3 days later, I stood in a throng of underclassmen and watched the King of Morocco tour the campus of his namesake school. He smiled in a pleasant, distant way that I imagined kings should smile, then disappeared in a black limousine. Most of the students dispersed, but a girl called Fatima Zahra remained behind and watched the limousine until it was nothing but a black dot on the horizon. "I'm a third cousin of the Queen," she said, flashing her ring at me. "The royal family gave this to me. It's a diamond." I said it looked nice. Fatima Zahra shook her loose, shiny hair and frowned at my roommate Noor, who wore a headscarf and didn't care much about diamonds. "Let's go get ice cream," said Fatima Zahra, and steered me to the cafeteria. Back in Washington, the child and I go off trail, hoping we'll have better luck finding a cicada in the woods. I've been nannying on and off now for a decade. Before that, I did some work as a paralegal, sold cutlery. I push my toe around the roots of the tree. "I found a dead one," I say, before realizing it's just an empty shell. And I feel a little embarrassed about the mistake, but the child is the only one who heard, so we start walking again. A cloud patches over the sun, and our steps fall into shadow. "She's lying," Noor said to me that night from the top bunk. "She's not related to the Queen." "Then who gave her the diamond ring?" "Same people who paid for her boob job." Noor flopped her head over the bed. "Her mom and dad." She looked at my Arabic vocabulary book. "Want me to quiz you?" I passed the book up to her. "Noor, what will you do after college?" "What's the word for lonely?" I chewed on a fingernail. "Wahida." "I want to work for the United Nations," she said. "You?" "I don't know," I said. "Something big." "Study up then." And she dropped the book back into my lap. The next day, I saw Fatima Zahra in the cafeteria. "I like you," she said, "so I'm going to tell you my secret. I'm seeing an orthodontist." "For braces?" I asked. "He's 43 years old." She paused for effect. "Don't tell my parents." After lunch, I got into her Peugeot, and we drove to an office building, and she left me in the passenger seat with the engine idling and came back 30 minutes later with a little plastic bag full of toothbrushes. "Do your parents let you date?" she asked as we drove back to the university. "Of course." "Lucky." Fatima Zahra lit a cigarette and ran a red light. She cracked her window and waved out the smoke. "What will you do after college, Fatima Zahra?" Fatima Zahra shrugged. "The orthodontist?" She gunned the car into a parking space, and it popped up onto the curb. "You?" "Maybe a PhD in Arabic." She nodded and offered me a drag of her cigarette. I took it. The child and I find a clearing in the woods, and there, under a large oak, we finally catch a glimpse of the brood. They're puttering around the grass below the tree, heaving their clumsy brown bodies into the branches. Their eyes are bright red, and I think for 17 years they lie dormant in the undisturbed earth, sucking on root sap and doing nothing, until one day they crawl up out of their shells and emerge in swarms so large that people write stories about them. Fatima Zahra didn't stay with the orthodontist, of course. She married some sort of exporter and moved to Spain. Noor ended up at the United Nations, and she emailed me once to invite me for dinner in New York, but I never answered. My Arabic book is somewhere in my parents' basement, collecting dust. Do you know they're edible? I say to the child. I crouch down on the ground and spot a beigey tendril, its wings soft and flexible. No longer a nymph, not yet an adult. I pick it up, and it doesn't move because all cicadas are slow and pretty dumb. I take a breath and bite into it, and it squishes between my teeth. I gag, but the flavor is grass, and I swallow it, and it slides down my throat like a long-forgotten achievement. I look down at the child, but she shakes her head at me like she's the nanny and I'm the child. We head back to the trail. I can hear the cicadas now. Their cellophane wings clap against each other, and the sound is a million tiny matches striking. The sun comes out, and it's so warm, I think it could crack open my shell, but it won't. I'm still underground.